Welcome to Faithful Organizers. My name is Sangeeta Evans, and I am so happy to introduce to you our organizer of the month, Angie Hyche. How are you, Angie? Thank you for
I
joining.
am great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We are so happy to have you. She is of Shipshape Solutions and in Kingsport, Tennessee. So glad to have you here. She's an author, she's a writer, she's an encourager, she's blessed faithful organizers in so many ways. And we just want to just to get to know you a little bit better today, Angie. We just also shared her blog this month, and you can find that at faithfulorganizers.com. And it's titled Organizing That Can Save Your Life. Wow, what an eye-catching title, Angie.
Mm,
Um, and I am so glad, personally, I'll tell you, I read it and it made me act immediately, just like you said
good.
in the article. But it helps us to kind of prepare for our emergencies in life that can come. And I loved a couple of things I'll mention is how to set up our phones so that all that information is accessible immediately at our fingertips. Have to read this blog. It's very encouraging and it could change your life. It could save your life. So what made you think of that title? Did you have any emergency in your life that you experienced?
No, I have not. But I tell you what, I was I believe I was going with my mom to a medical appointment, and the nurse said, "Do you have your health ID set up on your phone?" And she was saying, "Yeah, you can have that set up to where if you're in a medical emergency, then EMS or firefighters or whatever can be able to access, the really crucial things. So I got it set up for my mom and then I got it set up for me. And then I kind of made up my mission like, okay, I need to spread the word about this because you just never know.
That's right.
So,
I was reading on your website, you had a BS in biology, you taught high school science, you were also a physician assistant in pediatrics, right? So you have
yes.
this medical background. I did too. It's interesting how God just gathers us from all walks of life
Oh, absolutely.
and
Yeah.
brings us to this, this new purpose in our life where we are a part, where it's something that He instilled in our hearts. Tell
Mhm.
me a little about you. How long have you been in the business and why did you start the business?
Yeah, so I worked as a PA and my husband and I took turns going to graduate school in Atlanta. And by the time I had finished grad school with a master's and was working as a PA, we'd been married 7 years. By that point, I was, ready to start my family. And I thought, I'll work through the whole pregnancy. It'll probably take a while to get pregnant and all this. And so my husband and I said, okay, let's start trying to get pregnant. 2 weeks later, okay, I'm pregnant. And and so I really didn't work in the field of medicine that long. And then I knew that I wanted to stay home and raise our daughters and was fortunate to be able to do that financially. That time I also started volunteering at some local community theaters, started acting as a hobby. And one of the theaters, the room where they had their costumes and props and set pieces was an absolute disaster. I couldn't even stand to go in there because nobody could find anything. It just stressed me out. So they had a part-time employee and someone said, "Oh yeah, Sharon's that room's driving her crazy too. I think she wants to organize it." And I said, "Oh my gosh, I need to get in touch with Sharon." So she and I spent weeks going through everything, just, doing what we do now as organizers. But, um, and in the midst of that just big mess, I said, this is the most fun thing ever. I want to do this every day of my life. And then, of course, I found out, oh, you can actually do this. This is a field. I found NAPO. I did something easy. I went back to the schools. I was an elementary teaching assistant, and that was okay, but I still had this, I couldn't get that out of my mind. So when we hit empty nest phase, um, my husband just was so sweet. He just said, I know you're intimidated by the whole starting a business thing, but I honestly think you would be very good at this. I am afraid that you will regret it if you don't try. So that was 2016, and it was a big leap of faith. It was the scariest and most amazing thing, and I just loved it. So I worked with clients, mostly residential, some business, for quite a few years. But through that, I started writing. It just started as a blog. Then it became a monthly newspaper article in two local papers that have continued since early 2017 every month. So I've got over 100 articles. I realized I really love to write. So, and as a way to get clients, and because I was a theater girl, I decided to start speaking. And I really love to speak. One of the presentations that I started doing at church groups, I called it the spiritual implications of clutter because I'd started realizing this connection. God's a God of order, and peace and order go hand in hand. And I started also realizing that the clutter in our clients' lives and the clutter in my own life, which was not the clutter of stuff, it was clutter in my schedule, clutter in my mind, that there's a real spiritual connection. So that kind of became my thing that I latched onto. The connection between my faith and this whole clutter and organizing became what my business stood for. I wrote Unholy Mess in 2020. And then I got connected with Leanna George, former professional organizer and a Christian in Houston. She had this idea to write a book of devotionals related to organizing. So we ended up teaming up to do a podcast that's been going on for a year and a half. And then the book that just published last week, Uncluttered, Shaping Your Heart and Home for What Matters Most. And again, it's inspiration and practical tools, but it's all biblical. So I dropped working with clients at the beginning of 2023, and I can't imagine doing anything else now. I feel uniquely gifted by God to do the work that I'm doing, of presenting and writing and podcasting. And
I think
when
you
you feel
found it.
like you're doing the thing that God gifted you for, it's so
Yes,
fulfilling. There's so much peace.
right.
Faithful Organizers was a huge part. One of my first NAPO conferences, I saw that Faithful Organizers was doing devotionals, and I started going, and I never even thought that my job could be part of my ministry. That was totally brand new thinking. So really it all kind of, Faithful Organizers was a big part of starting that push too, um, to bring in the faith component.
Would you like to give us a favorite tip, even if it's to the organizers or to clients? Like what resonates with you the most? What do you find most important that's necessary in this cluttered world of ours?
Well, I have hundreds of tips related to physical clutter, and that's what most people think about when they think about clutter. But I think we are doing ourselves a disservice to focus just on the physical, because the clutter in our schedule, in our to-do list, and the clutter in our minds is just as devastating, or maybe even more so. I know I spent many years addicted to my phone and causing a lot of damage to my family because of it. Um, so the tip I want to give is actually to pay very close attention to how much time you're spending on your digital devices, and ask your closest friends and family, do you feel like I'm on my phone too much? Do you feel like you're trying to get my attention and I'm stuck on my phone? Because it's just, this runs rampant. And this is men and women, all ages, all socioeconomic. And many people will say, oh, yeah, teenagers really have a problem with that, but it's not just teenagers. Um, so I love this quote. This is not mine, but the greatest gift you can give someone is your full attention.
Oh, that's awesome. Very true.
And when our minds are cluttered, we cannot give our full attention.
Right. That's great. That's something
So,
to meditate on.
yeah, one of my favorite lines from my first book, Unholy Mess, I said, at the end of our lives, uh, most of us will probably say, I wish I'd spent more time with my loved ones. But I don't think anybody's going to say, I wish I'd spent more time on my phone. Um,
Awesome.
so
Thank you
it's,
so much.
I think this is something we all need to look at seriously.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. You just did a book signing tonight. Thank you for joining us.
of course.
Else, thank you for joining us. And please check out her blog on faithfulorganizers.com. Get to know Angie a little deeper with her bio and check out her website. And be blessed by reading her blog. just could save your life. So have a wonderful day and God bless. Bye bye.